Okay, welcome to lesson 4 of class Quiver, which is all about flashcards and practice. And here are my activities plan. We'll look at the different flashcard modes, challenge, competition, and then we'll switch over to practice, which is basically a number of flashcards at a time displayed on the screen. We can move into a multiple choice mode. And then we'll also make sure we talk about how we select students through this process. So it's all integrated. Okay, let's get started with flashcards. You can see on the menus up above, we have flashcards here and practice here. And when I click on flashcards, there are 4 different ways to view flashcards and lots of options. So the first one is where you can see the flashcards right below this toolbar here, right where this whiteboard is, which is a partial view of the whiteboard. Then I can just click on this and it'll put it right up in here. Notice my options now are available and I have lots of different options. It's on manual right now, but let me just close the menu so you can take a look. So here's a one-line flashcard system. If I wanted to, I could click on the forward button and it would bring up a question. I put together one on U.S. history. It's kind of interesting. Some eye-opening questions in here. And then when you click it again, it'll bring up the answer. Yeah, the whole question was, as a deterrent during the Prohibition in the U.S., the U.S. poisoned legal industrial alcohol by adding iodine, chloroform, and and the answer was gasoline, which is kind of interesting. As you can see, I have a little pencil icon here. So if I wanted to, I could edit this on the fly, which is really nice. So I would click on this. If I had an error here, correction, I would then make the correction and hit save. And that would replace this card in your flashcard file as well as your course file if you had one. And then you could do the same thing for the answer over here. And notice because this didn't fit, I had a little way to scroll through it. These kinds of questions with a lot of text might be best used in a full screen mode. So let me go to a full screen mode. You can see what that looks like. Here's full size mode. And we'll just keep it in manual so you can see, compare apples to apples here. So it's the same thing, only now these have been brought down and expanded so that you can see much more. What's cool about the full flash mode is that I could also click on the font button and I can increase its size, or right click on it and decrease its size. So depending on how much text you have in there, will determine how much you would like to change the size. By the way, you could also use a scroll, control roll if you're a Windows user, to zoom in and out. Okay, and you just step through the cards just like this, and you can even go backwards. Abe Lincoln was a champion wrestler. Now, you can also swap these if you like to do it, Jeopardy style. So I'm going to swap them right here. Shouting would have alerted the enemy is the answer to Paul Revere never shouted the British are coming, because shouting would have alerted the enemy. But that's just one option. It depends on what kind of curriculum you are using. And speaking of which, this doesn't have to be rote memorization. A lot of people think flashcards, so that's just rote memorization. But it could be anything you want. It could be a sequential presentation of talking points or writing prompts or whatever you want. Don't think of it as it has to be rote memorization. Which is why I've given these other options, by the way, that you can go sequentially or randomly. Before I go there are 2 other modes. Just let me briefly show you. Challenge rounds. Looks exactly like the same size for the questions and answers. You can still step through them. Only you get music and you can bring up somebody and you can challenge them. How many can you get in a row? Can you get 3 and 2 in a row? Whatever you want, Glenn. And if Glenn gets going and you want to bring up um, a lifeline, something like that, you can even still click on other people up here. Somebody raises their hand. Yes, Carla, what do you think? And make sure you're keeping track of who's getting what points. So the challenge round can be a lot of fun. Got some good tense music in there, and it keeps things lively and interesting. And then if I go to competition, yeah, there's no such timer going on. I'll reset this. Competition, it basically has one team against another team, and I like to use this for bringing up students to give hints to another student to guess the answer. Renee will be able to see the board. Carla has her back to the board, and Renee can give prompts, but not say any words that are on the screen until Carla says the right answer. And they'd be going up against Damien and Roberto. And it's fun. You give points right here just by clicking on it. They just got a point. They just got a point. First team to get to 5 wins. It's a fun thing. So that's the competition round. But if I go back to um, full size, I want you to notice what some options are. So first of all, I could make this automated. If I do automated, notice immediately it starts a timer right here. And then it'll bring up a new question for 6 seconds by default, and then the answer will be displayed for about 3 seconds, about half as long to see the answer. And you could just run this automated. Students can watch it while you work on something, or you're tutoring somebody. I can increase or decrease this time with a simple right click, slower, faster. And so that is automated. It also works when you do it just one line below the toolbar. Let's do that again, because that toggles also back to no line. But if I do automated here, you can see the same thing happens in this mode. Now, another cool thing you can do with flashcards is you can bring up an automated with random student. So when you do it in this view, this is what it looks like when it brings up a new question in 3 seconds. You'll see it'll pick a student automatically. Anna, you're the one picked to do this question. And of course, that mode also works with full size. So if I do full size automated, you can see it does it out here as well. Now there's some other options, like for example, you could run these sequentially, or you can run them randomly. So if you just have a lot of maybe new vocabulary or some questions that you just want scrambled so they're not following a logical sequence, then you do it randomly. And otherwise, you do it sequentially. I like to do it sequentially when I'm presenting new material that requires a logical sequence. Before I change these, why don't I do this? I will show the sequence numbers so that you can see what's going on. I'll switch it to manual. Now you can see if I step through, this is going sequentially. And if I were to switch that back to random, then you can see with the sequence numbers, these are how they're numbered in your file, then they show up randomly. All right, so there's only one other, and that is the swap. I have the swap here, but you also have the swap here with this button right there. So now with challenge, you could use challenge for a lot of different purposes, but what I typically like to do is I will pick someone at random, and you can right click, of course, and pick a volunteer. Penny volunteers, or maybe you just want to randomly pick someone. It seriously gets to the point where most students want to be chosen. And I usually provide lots of options, like I challenge you to 3 in a row. For some reason, I got 5 in a row as the default. But let's say I go 3 in a row, Wally, and I'll let you have a lifeline. Now, if your lifeline doesn't even know the answer, then we can just skip it altogether and go and add. It'll add another number to this. But all right, so as soon as I click the show the next button, it will start. It's notice my timer has started, and that depends on how you set your timers here. But you got that cool music going on, and Wally guesses it, and I click the answer. There it is. And I go on to the next one, and Wally says, I don't know, I need a lifeline, so I'm going to click on, get this out of the way. Click on Joe. Joe, what do you think? Joe helps him out, and sure enough, gets the answer. Now he's up to 2 points. I'm going to do one more. Where did you notice we're in swap mode again? But now he doesn't know. Victor doesn't know, so we can just skip it. So if I hit skip, it'll reveal the answer. But now he has to get a fourth one, and so he'll go through 2 more. And I just went too fast. But anyway, he got all 4. And to reset it, we could just click goal, and we start over, and we can get someone else. It's fun. It brings lots of students in one at a time. Puts a student on the hot seat, and it's good activity. There's also the competition round, as I mentioned. And notice that whenever you see one of these arrows, like up here, that for picking students, you can also do the right click. So again, if you pick someone at random, Julie says, no, I really don't want to do this. I'm too nervous. I'm going to go, all right, we can skip you. No problem. We'll pick someone else. Zoe, are you up? Zoe says, yeah, I'm ready to go. And you can do this all the way around. Here's my 2 teams, Zoe and Jordan versus Tiffany and Christian. You can bring other class members in. Jordan might confer with his group. All right, what do you think we should tell Zoe? And let's give her some clues. And then Zoe gets the clues, and then she picks the answer. And again, it also has intense music going on, like a game show, and it kind of makes it fun. And that's flashcards. And now I'm going to show you practice. So the first thing I'm going to do is just click on practice. I have to select the practice file in my planner, my lesson planner. Let's make sure I pick a practice file. And I think I have just that first flash. It looks like I was just missing a slash on there, I guess. So here we go. I'm going to go into practice now. Yes, reset the timer. Here we are in practice. All right, so I think by default it shows you 5 questions at a time. And again, you can always increase the font, try to make it fit as big as you can so that students in the back can see. And so it brings up 5 questions all at a time. And maybe this could be, math story problems or math problems, or it could be writing prompts or whatever it is you want to have come up here. So, and what I like about this is that I can just click on one and it highlights it, right? Blue, that makes sure everyone in the class knows which question are we working on right now. And just a glance tells them, oh, that's the one we're working on. To reveal an answer, you just right click, either in the answer spot or even in the question spot. It's just a right click and it brings up the answer. So, but what I like to do is I like to show, well, first of all, let me show you that you could do it 4 questions at a time, 3, or 2 questions at a time. And, of course, the fewer that you do at a time, maybe the more words you could fit in a spot. But you notice how we have the arrows, and the arrows allow you to pick your student. So, Benny, you get to do this question, and Damon, you get to do this question. Sometimes I like to have a backup. Okay, so So Benny, you're going to do this question, but if you need help, Veronica's going to help out with that one. Jason, you're going to help Damien out with this one, and then so when you step through it, eventually you can reveal the answer, or sometimes it's just answers will vary, or you could put maybe here's a possible thing you could write, or possible answer for that question. So it doesn't have to be what you might think of flashcards as being rote memorization. So anyway, 3 cards, 4, 5 at a time. And notice you also have the ability to edit on the fly, which is really nice. You don't want to have to go back into your set creator and try to do that. By the way, I really like Quizlet. I put all my sets on Quizlet as well, so students can access them from home. But I don't use Quizlet in class because I like to do things like edit on the fly. I like to do things like selecting students to respond, and none of that exists on Quizlet. Okay, so I don't know what happened when we did that. If I were clear the students, clear all the students. And here's another cool thing is if you want to select all students at once, you don't have to click on 5 times. There they all are. If you want to use the students on the right side as well, there they all are. If you run out of students, the computer will tell you, out of students, if you have a small class and you attempted to do that. A couple more options you can have before I show you multiple choice, and that is that sometimes you might want to show every single spot has a question. You could do that. So if I do that, notice how I've got numbers 1 through 10. And that way you could have actually 10 items. And for that matter, if I did 4 questions, you have actually 8. So you can actually have from 2 to 8 questions on your screen at any time. And so if I wanted to see the answer, it's just a right click, because there's not a separate spot to reveal the answer. So we're going to have to right click. You can still left click to make sure the students know which one are we on. If you really want to focus in on something, champion, you can still click and drag, and that highlights as well to help bring the focus of your students to what you're working on. Okay, so by the way, if this was today's and then I clicked forward, there's the second group. So you could have dozens of questions. You would just click through them. If a student was not here yesterday, by the way, notice some of these things don't fit, so I'm making my font small enough so that they all fit. But if someone was not here yesterday to see practice group number 1, then under practice, I could say, show the previous group in the answer box. So they see what happened yesterday. It just comes right up. All these things just make teaching so efficient. You want to be productive. You want to just be one really fast click away from answering a student's question. Okay, so there's one more mode that I want to show you. Besides, you know what you could do randomly, sequentially. You can also, here we go. The other way to look at this is through multiple choice. Now, what I like about multiple choice is that it automatically creates these questions for you. So if you have dozens of items in there, it would take one at random, put the question here, and the answer, when you are ready, will be revealed right below it. But as you can see, these other questions are being used as the distractors. So which one of these is the answer? And the computer always picks one of them to be the answer. Paul Revere never shouted British are coming because shouting would have alerted the enemy. The student says, I choose D. You click on D, and you can even select students. You say, Anna, what do you think this is about? But I'm going to right click up here, and it brings up the answer there as well. Since there might be some confusion, well, what do you mean by the Nobel Peace Prize? Show me what that's about. Okay, fine. We can reveal the question, right above it, so they can see that and go, oh, I now I know what that's about. What's this about buckles? Okay, well, and of course the um that of course doesn't match, but all right. So that's how you do multiple choice. And that concludes my lesson on flashcards and practice. Be sure to watch, I believe, lesson 6, where we actually create these files. And you'll see how easy it is to create. It's just as easy as it's easier than creating a set in Quizlet.com. All right, thank you for watching.